This is BRICS Africa channel in conversation with the MEC of Gauteng for Human Settlement, Ms. Tasneem Motara. Good morning.
Morning.
Yes. There's a beautiful event taking place. For us who don't know and for those who are sitting at home, what is the aim of this IBT Summit?
So IBT, it's about innovative building technology. It's going to bring together policymakers, government, the private sector, innovators, research institutions, civil society, the private sector, who are either involved or would like to get involved in the innovative building technology space. It's really to help us as a sector, human settlements as a sector, to understand what is out there, what works, what are the costs, what are some of the risks, what are the opportunities, but help us formulate an approach to using innovative building technology as we deliver on our mandate, which is the building of houses, human settlements.
What is your role as MEC or your department? Do you expect from a IBT Summit? What role should it play in the delivery of adequate housing?
So for us here at the summit, as a provincial department, we're coming to interact with all the role players, learn and understand what is out there, what is, as I say, what has worked, what are some of the pitfalls. It's going to help us drive that policy creation in the space, and help us, help us to deliver on our mandate. But we are here just to, I think, interact with all the role players and state what our problem is. And our problem is, of course, we've got a shrinking fiscus, we've got a huge housing demand, and the two are actually linked. Because if you don't have an economy that's growing, you have more and more people depending on the state for services such as adequate housing. So we want to clearly state what our problem is and how does innovation, how does alternative building technology help us to overcome that problem. And if we can come together as a sector, we'll be able to develop clearly that policy that's going to help provinces, even municipalities, with the problem.
Both Gauteng and nationally, over the years, the quest to eradicate informal settlements, mud houses, has proved to be a challenge. What solutions do you think the IBT's summit will bring onto this development?
So one of our big challenges is when we have an informal settlement, it's highly congested. So one of the issues is how do you decongest? Could we look at innovative ways of building where people stay? So you don't have to move people off-site because there's costs involved, but also we don't always have space. So how do you build in an area that's congested? How do you build in an area that could be prone to maybe high rains, not necessarily floods? How do you build in an area that is also prone to strong winds, things like that? So that would really help us because we have a huge challenge with the informal settlements in Gauteng specifically. But linked to that is just our problem of space. So we aren't able to build because we have so much of congestion. But can innovation help us to do that?
Yes. Still speaking of informal settlements, most communities who are in need of adequate housing, the challenge is the affordability. Will the summit be addressing this to lower the entry level into real estate or into habitation?
I'm sure it could. Look, for the RDP beneficiary, you've got to earn 3,500 rand or less.
Yes.
So that's like from 0 to
Yes.
3,500. But there is what we refer to as a missing middle. Those
Yes.
that earn just above the that threshold,
Mm.
but they don't earn enough to get bonds in
Yes.
the financial markets or the traditional bonds.
Mm.
They don't have access to a lot of savings. As an example, they may be involved in the informal economy, so they do have funds, but it's not banked funds, so it's not recognized. You don't have something like a payslip, that you don't have a credit record. So how do we cater for those? And I'm sure that looking at the different types of and ways of doing things, because the innovation is going to look at ways and how we do it, but the alternative is what product do we use in that. And I think if you're looking at different alternative products, you could get a product that is cheaper than the traditional brick and mortar.
Because of climate change, we've got constant and persistent floods nowadays. So the recent flooding, for example, in Mpumalanga, Limpopo, and KwaZulu, has demonstrated the need of climate-resilient infrastructure. Is this on the agenda as well?
Most certainly, even in Gauteng, we have got areas that flood now.
Yes.
So while we've not been as devastatingly hit as the provinces that you speak about,
Yes.
but it is a risk. We've also got rivers, we've got low-lying areas in Gauteng. We have got a lot of dolomite in Gauteng.
Yes.
So that also can be built using innovation on dolomitic areas, because when we aren't able to build on dolomitic areas, it eats away at the space that we could possibly have. We've experienced quite a number of tremors in Gauteng. You know that it is mining. It's has a lot of mining activity in the province. But climate change is a real thing.
Yes.
We've had a lot of rain in Gauteng since November, more than usual. So our ability to build is slowed down by weather conditions. Can you build? So innovative technology allows you to build offsite.
Yes.
And then move. Yes. So that will help us. So you don't have downtime in the construction period.
Exactly.
Now, unfortunately, we have downtime when it's raining. You can't build when it's raining. So those are the elements that and I'm sure the summit will look at those.
Yes. In South Africa, we've got stringent rules.
Yes.
Everything has got regulations, which is good for the country. But in this case, when we are moving from the archaic standards of building the mortar style to these innovative ones, what is the bottleneck in those regulations?
Look, that's what government has got to address, is the regulatory framework. Quality and standards protect everybody.
Yes.
So if you don't have standards, anybody can give you any product, and we won't have recourse. So we still have to maintain standards. We still have to maintain a framework that everybody adheres to, so that citizens are assured that they will be safe, that you don't build a house using innovation or alternative technology and then 6 months down the line it falls on you. So government will have to look at that and look at either streamlining or as having the minimum standards by which everybody can be assured of quality of exactly what they're getting. A home is meant to be for life, so you don't want to invest in a technology, whether it's alternative materials or innovative way of building it. 6 months down the line, you don't have a house. That's going to be a waste to the state. But we'll definitely have to look at how do you streamline, how do you deal with duplications, and onerous regulations, because we want to be. Innovation is exactly that. It's got to be. It's got to address the problem in a quicker, cheaper, more sustainable way.
Yeah, the department ought to be congratulated on this IBT initiative. Let me play devil's advocate as a closing remark. How do we avoid, or how does the state avoid that IBT Summit doesn't become another talk show? Do we have goalposts in place already for implementation?
We definitely have. So beyond this, so it's led by the National Department as the lead department in policy. And I think provinces have wanted to use innovation, wanted to use alternative technology, but we don't have a standard in terms of costs. We don't have a standard in terms of the policy implementation. The summit has got to help us do that. And once we conclude, we'll take the process forward so that we do have a policy framework that will allow provinces and municipalities even to begin rolling out using those regulated, standardized, and those that meet the requirements. Because ultimately they must meet the requirements. And then we know we can be assured of the costs. Because I think we don't want to introduce innovation and technology and then the costs run away from us and then we create a new burden on the fiscus. So that process is the next steps beyond the summit.
Ms. Tasneem Motara, Gauteng MEC for Human Settlement, thank you very much for your insights.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.